This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper to Bumper. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys. Heard every Saturday from 11 to noon, and at Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. So if you got car questions, we've got car answers, so we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And for the shy type, you can text us at 411-923. And as always on the Bumper to Bumper roadmap, fact or fiction, taking your phone calls, taking your text, and emissions. Matt, how do you study for the emissions test? Do you need to study? You're thinking, I got that renewal for my registration in the mail, and the car's getting to be 4 years old, 5 years old, and it looks like I got to go in for emissions test. And I'm kind of nervous about it, and I don't know why.
Well, nothing. Every test, I guess, people get nervous, but no, there's nothing to get nervous about. And no, you really can't study for it. I mean, there's a couple things you need to know, but that's it. And those are pretty easy. If you have a car that's going to be due for emissions, I always typically just say, just take the car in and get it tested. A little asterisk, though. A 1996 and newer car will not pass the test if the check engine light is on. A little orange warning light on your dash. That's an automatic failure for the car. That's an OBD2, or onboard diagnostics generation 2. And on that test, they're not sniffing the tailpipe. There's no probe going up in the back or anything like that. So it's just a plug and play. You plug into the portal underneath the dash. The computer system will read out what's happening inside the car and tell if it passes or not. But it absolutely does not pass with the check engine light on. So no studying other than that. Otherwise, just really go get a test.
And if you are driving, we'll just talk about the modern car for now, 96 or newer, and the check engine light isn't on, you're probably going to pass. The only reason you wouldn't is if the gas cap is bad. They test the gas cap. So the other thing is if the battery was just disconnected, it was just at the repair shop, somebody cleared the memory out of the computer, that'll cause you not to pass. That one you won't know about. I mean, if the car's not telling on itself.
Well, yeah, what will happen is if maybe you just changed your battery yourself, or you're the weekend guy that does some maintenance, and you say, I'm going to clean my battery connectors, I'm going to put a new air filter in, I'm going to do all this stuff that I normally do every 6 months anyway, or whatever, and then, oh, by the way, I'll just go down and take it to the emissions test. In all probability, you will fail that test. Because what happened when you disconnect the battery, you're resetting the computer's memory to make it just simple terminology. Where essentially the same thing as going to the parts store, getting the little computer and clearing out the codes. And what that is, it's a protection for the state or for the testing. It basically keeps you honest. You can't go fail the test because you have your check engine light on and erase the code and drive around the building and come back in. The car has to go through a series of 7 or 8 tests depending on the year of the car. And those are what's called the readiness monitors. And some of you may have gone and failed emissions and said the car's not ready yet.
What do you mean it's not ready? So the car is onboard diagnostic. It is self-testing. And so you say readiness monitors, it may be 7 or 8, depending on the year. And the car will tell on itself. So it runs a test, and one of the tests that's real common that everyone knows about is the evap test. So it may fill an evap test. And what it's doing is they want these fuel systems, the gas tank and all the hoses and everything that need to be airtight so they're not venting gasoline fumes into the atmosphere. So what the car does to test itself is it literally pressurizes the fuel system. It's got a pressure sensor in it, and it waits to see how long that pressure bleeds off. It shouldn't bleed off at all, and if it does bleed off, we have a problem. So there's diagnostic codes that say we've got a small leak or we got a big leak in the fuel system, and that will turn on the check engine light. And people refer to that as the gas cap code.
Yeah, well, it used to be very common failure. But with the technology better, that's why they're able to get to a gross leak or a small leak. And some cars now even have a gas cap light that's on because people would fail the test. We would even have people coming in to the shop back in the 90s when they first started monitoring the gas cap, and it's just dangling by the little leash, or it's inside the door, not even closed, and the check engine light was on. So there was some, I think they just broadened those tests, tightened up some of the calibrations, and some of them that have a gas cap light actually uses a magnetic sensor that lets it know the gas cap isn't installed.
My wife's got a fairly new car, and first time we go to gas it up, I open up the little fuel door, and there's no gas cap.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is strange. Space docking just got different.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. You just put the probe right in. But there's a good website that you can go to, and it's on our Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook, find Bumper to Bumper Radio, or go to bumpertobumperradio.com and find our Facebook link. But we've got myazcar.com. There's a great deal of information there. There's really cool things. You don't, I gotta wait all day down at the test line, or maybe you're at work and you want to sneak out and do it at lunch. Well, you can go online and you can look at the wait times for each station close to you and actually have a camera view. You can see the line, and it's live. I mean, we send our guys down and we get to check and see what time they got there and make sure they're not stopping off and, having lunch and whatnot. You can check the history of emissions passes and failures on a particular car. So maybe you're looking at buying a car, and you can go run the VIN number. You can see every time in the history this car has failed. I know after a valuable lesson where we had difficulty fixing a car for emissions that was presented to us, before we work on cars now, we run the VIN number and see what the heck has been happening, what the history of this car is. So there's some good information there. You can learn about all the different years that are exempt and what the fees are on various cars. But for the most part, it's an 81 and newer car. It goes about every other year, I think.
Well, now you said right before the show, the stuff that is pre-OBD2, there's a lot of technicians don't even really know how to work on those systems or to get them through emissions because we didn't grow up in that era, right? I mean, 96, that's the year I graduated high school.
Oh, I interview technicians and talk to them about carburetors, and they don't know how to adjust them. They don't know, there's very few people that can rebuild a carburetor, anymore. I know how to do it. A couple of guys at my shop do it. It can be done still, but there's an art to adjusting a car, and a lot of shops won't even work on them, or even more, they don't have the equipment anymore. There's some old equipment that some of us still have around that you need to have, a 5-gas analyzer, and they're just not used anymore on newer cars.
So I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, I don't have a 96 or newer car, and maybe I just bought this vehicle. I got to go to emissions. I don't have any check engine lights on, and if I did, it wouldn't matter because they're going to put a sniffer in the tailpipe, so to say, and they're going to test. They're going to analyze the gas coming out of my car. Matt, so should they just go straight down there and get a test, or should they come see a shop first?
Well, in most cases, I would say just go get the test and let's find out what it is. We'll have a baseline on how the car is running. Now, if your car just stinks horribly of gasoline and it's running bad and it's misfiring, no, we've got to at least get the car running good. If it runs good, just take it in. But I'll tell you, Dave, we didn't even, it just dawned on me some other problems you may have on an older car. They have to drive that car for 120 or 170 seconds or something like that on the dyno to simulate road conditions. We've seen cars rejected for testing because the rear brakes are out of adjustment. It gets on the roller, and the rear brakes aren't even holding the back tires, so they won't even stop rolling on the dyno. Bad tires. They cannot run your car at 55 or 60 miles an hour in that closed confinement with a bad tire on the back of the car. They will reject you for that. If you have an overheating car or anything dripping fluids while it's driving, you will not be able to present for a test. So you do have to have a car that's in good working order, too.
Right, and so they don't even, you go to the emission stations anymore, you used to get in that little booth and you'd see them run your car on the drums. You got a modern car, you don't even see that. They just plug their computer into your computer. Now, if you're all-wheel drive, they can't run on the dyno. So they got to do something different, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have a hot rod, you go find yourself an all-wheel drive car because the only thing that has to do is pass it idle and pass it elevated, maybe a 2,200 or 1,800 RPM testing speed or cruise speed test, if you will.
Well, one of the things that we did bring up, and so you are thinking about going to emissions, let's just say you did just happen to drop into a bumper-to-bumper shop and get yourself an interstate battery. A new battery may be a great battery, and that's a battery we carry at our shop, But it's not going to get you through emissions if you don't get through those readiness monitors. It's got to what the readiness monitors, they don't always set right away. I mean, sometimes these things have to be driven. It may take a week to get them all to pass, and depending on the situation out there, it could be. I've seen cars where it's got to be a certain temperature range to run the evap test, and if it's not going to pass. So the battery thing does come up when it comes to emissions time.
Well, and again, the batteries are important. We talk about it. We see so many failures on cars just simply because of a bad battery. So don't be the guy hung out in the parking lot with the hood up looking for somebody to come jumpstart your car. And don't be the guy in the emissions line that, hey, you know what? The battery can even be weak enough where you, and it's slow, and then its voltage might drop enough to where it
drops out some memory.
Car. So do yourself a favor and interstatebatteries.com.
For sure. Anyhow, when we come back, if you got questions in regard to your car, it can be emissions related, it can be vibration related, it can be noise related. You could have some sort of weird intermittent problem. Give us a call at 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
The Waste Management Phoenix Open, presented by the Octin Indian community, is a golf tournament like no other. Huge crowds, enthusiastic fans, exciting golf. It's truly the People's Open. Please enjoy the tournament and have fun. Remember, be safe, act responsibly, and behave with class. Let's show the world that we have the greatest fans in golf. Respect the fans, respect the players, respect the game at the 2017 Waste Management Phoenix Open, January 30th through February 5th at TPC Scottsdale.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Well, you're with Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys. This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, where we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. So if you got car questions, we've got car answers, so we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. And, Matt, I don't know if a lot of people realize that all of our shows are up on the Internet. If you go to bumpertobumperradio.com, there's a list of all the shows that we've done for 5+ years here.
Yeah.
You can also go iTunes, Apple Store, pick up, our podcast, and you can listen to our shows. If there's a topic, scroll through those topics. Maybe you're thinking about going through emissions and you want to go listen to an emissions show, you can go do that.
Sure. I mean, like our oil show we had last week, it's always a popular show. There's so many, and they're all there. You can go find those. And speaking of text messages, Dave, we're talking about emissions failures if you're just joining the show and how to get through the test. We've got some information on our Facebook page, which you can find at bumpertobumperradio.com. And, we talked about the gas caps, how it used to be all the time. Oh, it's just the gas cap, don't worry about it. Or people would come in with the check engine light on thinking, oh, it's just the gas cap. Well, they are important to fix, and we already do have a text. Gentleman, I'm assuming, has a 2004 Toyota Tacoma, 55,000 miles on it. It says the mechanic checked it out for the check engine light. It says it's just the gas cap. What gives? Well, the gas caps need to be sealed, so there's a rubber gasket. There's a plunger, there's a little mechanism in there that keeps them from letting the vacuum or the gas tank get sucked into a vacuum, and a little device in there, and they can just fail. The seals, that gas cap comes on and off once or twice a week, maybe in some cases. The rubber seal will get dried up, go bad. But sometimes the gas cap, I think, gets a bad rap. A lot of people, I think, let's just throw a gas cap on it and to start and see what happens.
You know how many people cause problems by replacing the gas cap? And he's got a 2004, right? So the vehicle's 12 years old, 13 years old. That's about the time you need a gas cap, if not at 8 to 10, somewhere in that range. But if you get a cheap gas cap from Acme Auto Parts, I tell you what, I like a good factory fitting gas cap. They're maybe $8, $10, whatever they are. The factory one maybe $16. I would get the factory one every time, and I'm not a big fan of these ones where you got to use a key and all that stuff. They just cause more issues with getting through emissions.
Well, you're right, Dave. When the fuel prices were high, we had a rash of people with check engine lights on for gas cap codes, and it seemed like an overwhelming majority of the time they had an aftermarket locking gas cap. These cars have rollover valves and check valves in them. You can't get anything down in to siphon this stuff out, even if you wanted to at times. So, and by the way, don't fret too much. If your gas cap fails, they do have a free gas cap program at the emission station. Chances are, if you have a very popular car, you're out of there, no big deal, with a free gas cap.
Well, 602-277-5827. We're going to go with Russ in Chandler. He's got a 2003 Chevy Silverado. How can we help you, Russ? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. So, 2003, it's actually a Duramax, so emissions is a little different, the test anyways. But I've got a problem with my instrument panel in that it's dead. I can fiddle with it, take it apart, rework it. It'll work for a while, it goes dead again. Can I go through emissions with no dash instrumentation?
I do not believe so.
I think you can, because they're not really looking at the gauges, right?
On the diesel, yeah.
Oh.
You have to have a functioning check engine light, because that's what they're using on the gasoline car. That is an interesting question. I really do not know.
And maybe the mileage, too, they would need.
Yeah, they would definitely need the mileage. So that's a tough one. I think you're going to have to take your chances there. But, boy, I'll tell you what, Russ, does that really make you pucker when you get in that truck and hold the throttle down for that emissions test on the diesel?
It does. Yeah. Have you ever done this before?
Yeah,
it scares me every time.
I have a diesel excursion, and if you drive a diesel car, you may know what we're talking about. You've got to get in there, and you've got to floorboard it. I mean, you hold it wide open. And I swear, I think there's going to be connecting rods and oil flying out of that bay in there, because it's sketchy sometimes.
And what they're doing an opacity test, right? Mm-hmm. So they're checking the visibility of the air, I guess.
Yeah, how much stuff is in the how many particulates are in the air? Yes.
Yeah, and Russ, it's pretty common on those vehicles to have gauge problems or cluster issues, and a lot of times those can be fixed without anything too major going on, so it just needs to be diagnosed. Is it in the cluster, or is it actually something else going on, power supply to the cluster, something like that?
There's some of those now you can actually buy the cluster already rebuilt and change them out. There's some places locally you can take them and have them repaired. And I don't believe the GMs need programming, but unlike some other models, you have to actually program the mileage and the VIN into the cluster.
For sure. Thanks for the call, 602-277-5827. We're going to go with Darlene in Litchfield. How can we help you, Darlene? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thank you for taking the call. I'm calling about my 2003 Buick Century, and I'm told that I need to have it's a EGR valve replaced. Pardon me. Let me give you just a little bit of background. I have my papers in front of me. I'll try to be quick. I had a problem back in November or September that my car would not start at first. Maybe it would try twice, and it would start the next few times all right. So I took it. I figured I needed a new battery, and so I got it done. It's an interstate that you guys talk about.
Good job.
And had that done, and then I went for. In December, 3 months later, I went for new an oil change. And when they ran it through, they gave me a little slip and said my battery was low, and that was only in for 3 months. So I went back to where I bought it at Firestone, and they replaced it. And I had trouble after that as well. And then I had some repair work done for other reasons. And now my EGR valve needs to be replaced, they told me.
Darlene, on your EGR valve, Did you have a check engine light on, or was the car
Yes,
running bad? Okay, so you did have
No.
your check engine light on, right?
It's the one that stays on the whole time, not check oil. It's check engine soon
Now,
light.
Darlene, when you go around, do you normally, the place that changes your oil, is that the same place that does your battery and your other regular maintenance work?
No.
Okay. Well, what's happening there? The check engine light's coming on because it's detecting a problem with the EGR valve. EGR is part of emissions. Anything that will make the car fail emissions will cause the light to come on a modern car. EGR valve is exhaust gas recirculation. We're just taking some of the exhaust, instead of putting it out the tailpipe, we're putting it back in and we're sucking it into the engine to reburn it. And that's an electronic valve, so that valve has probably failed. But the reason I asked about where you go is because you're having 2-3 different people work on your car, and I think maybe it doesn't sound like you have that one guy that you go to. And I would suggest going to bumpertobumperradio.com and find one of the shops in your area that Dave and I suggest people go to. And if you can't find one there, that's okay. Just find one and stick with them and let them fix your car.
Yeah, it's kind of like going to you always say, a different pediatrician every time you take your kid to the doctor. And they don't really know all the facts and histories, and you're trying to dig through all these invoices to see what I had done and what I didn't have done. And I see people get duplicate repairs. They'll be at one shop, and they'll get this service done, and they're at a different shop, and they'll use a different vernacular or verbiage, and they'll get the same repair twice because that happens to be in some of these coupon chain areas the thing they're selling. It's the doohickey of the month.
Yeah, exactly. And S&S Tire is one of the shops on the west side that would be able to take care of those things for you. A little bit closer east, one of the further, not that far west, is Larry Harker's Auto over in Indian School. That might be a bit of a drive, but still a good option depending on where you do your other business.
Now, you do a little bit different at Virginia Auto Service when you have your regular customers who have emissions issues. You guys will actually take care of all that for them.
Well, yeah, if you come into my shop for an emissions failure, we guarantee it's going to pass, and we take it to the emissions test for you. And we even have an emissions valet service. You don't have to have a broken car. If you're due for emissions, bring it to Virginia Auto Service. We take it down. We guarantee it's going to pass. And
let them be anxious so you don't have to be. Anyhow, we're taking your calls at 602-277-5827. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Roger Bland with the Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association, ATRA. As a transmission industry advocate, I travel throughout North America, studying transmission shops, looking for the best of the best that our industry has to offer. Professionally, ethically run shops that are proud to display the ATRA logo. I was recently in Arizona because I had heard from more than one source that I had to check out Tri-City Transmission right here in Tempe. Folks, I've been in the transmission industry for over 25 years, and I'm here to tell you that Tri-City is the type of transmission shop we're proud to call an ATRA member. Not only does Tri-City Transmission meet the stringent code of ethics set forth for every member of the association, they also have an extraordinary approach to solving their customers' problems. You see, they don't just focus on what it is they produce, transmissions. Their true concern is about fixing your problem. And take it from me, that's a big difference.
To learn more about Tri-City Transmission, find them at tricitytransmission.com. That's tricitytransmission.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Here's what Carrie from Tempe had to say about her experience with Good Works Auto Repair.
As soon as you realize, I need to get some work done on my car, I'm sure the thought occurs to you that you're about to get taken for a ride. I used to share the same sentiment and wondered if the shop was going to make something up and have me spending hundreds of dollars instead of $30 I was planning on for a simple oil change. This is one of the reasons I will only go to Good Works Auto Repair. Because I trust them. Putting trust in an auto shop didn't come easily. It's been built over several visits with them doing exactly what was needed, not coercing me into unnecessary work. Ask them for an oil change and a safety inspection, they do just that. No baloney list of filters, belts, and whatchamacallits that need replacing on my new car. Thank you, Good Works Auto Repair, for being there for me when I need you.
Appreciate the kind words. It's always a pleasure. Glenn Hayward here. Come experience what award-winning auto service should be. Goodworks Auto Repair in Tempe, or visit us at goodworksautorepair.com.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix.
KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Arizona's news station. KTAR, on air, 92.3 FM, online at KTAR.com, and streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic, now.
It's 11:30. I'm Allie Bettner. Here's our top story. After a drop in prices, some people are now forking more than $4,000 for a ticket to the Falcons-Patriots matchup. Glenn Lerwin with StubHub says the trends we're seeing this year in ticket prices keep going up and down.
We saw that initial pop, and then we saw the market sort of crash. And now we're seeing the market starting to go back up.
Democrats are now tying President Trump's Supreme Court nomination to the legal fight over his executive order on immigration. In a statement, Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer saying this morning that President Trump's criticism of a federal judge blocking the order raises the bar even higher for Judge Gorsuch's nomination to the High Court. Mike Pence saying this morning,
"This seat on the Supreme Court belongs to the American people, and the American people deserve a vote on the floor of the United States Senate."
Now let's get a check on traffic. From the RMEGold.com Traffic Center, here's Mike Daniels.
Well, thanks, Ellie. Loop 303 northbound, right between US 60 Grand Avenue and El Mirage. We got some traffic being stopped from time to time due to filming up to 20 minutes at a time. This is going on until 6 p.m. today, so expect some minor delays in that area. Also working that crash, 59th Avenue and McDowell Road. This report brought to you by the PGA Superstore. Shop like a pro at the new PGA Tour Superstore in Glendale, located at the northeast corner of 75th Avenue and Bell, where you will find the best deals on the largest selection of golf and tennis equipment, apparel, and footwear. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
Your weather for the Valley. Today, sunny with a high of 76. It's 65 degrees in Scottsdale. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air. I'm Allie Bettner on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
President Trump's first 100 days in office.
Iranian officials say they were allowed to test a medium-range ballistic missile because it's not able to carry a nuclear weapon. U.S. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn disagrees.
As of today, we are officially putting Iran on notice.
The president's team not saying exactly what on notice means.
For comprehensive coverage of Trump's first 100 days in office, turn to Arizona's news station, KTAR News, on 92.3 FM and streaming live on the KTAR News app.
In life, there are certain relationships outside of family and friends that are important. For instance, if your car breaks down, you want to have a relationship with an auto repair shop that you trust to repair your car. The same goes for your doctor, your accountant, and your attorney. Why? Because the services they provide involve health and financial decisions, and it's important to hire a trusted professional. This same principle applies to real estate. Hi, I'm Lisa Henry with Westline Sotheby's International Realty. For most of us, our home is the largest financial commitment and asset we will own in our lifetime. So when you decide to sell, it's important to hire a professional, knowledgeable real estate agent that you can trust to represent your interests and provide the best customer service available. If you would like a consultation to help determine the value and discuss a comprehensive marketing plan to sell your home, please visit my website at lisareneehenry.com. That's Lisa Renee, R-E-N-E-E, Henry.com. Come experience the difference a great real estate agent can make.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Yeehaw! Oh, you'd make a horrible cowboy.
Oh,
Dave.
totally.
Woo,
yeah, shucky-doo.
That's weak. I'm embarrassed for you, as a matter of fact.
Well, you're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio. We're helping you with your car. Today we're doing a little bit of emissions type stuff. And, I thought, what kind of movie clip goes with emissions? Oh, I tried to play it. It didn't work. So
you got it all messed up.
Forget it. Forget it. It's not happening. Anyway, so you had something happen to your shop. It's interesting what happens at the auto shop. I mean, if we could just sat around and told all the stories of all the things that happen at the auto shop, it's amazing. One day Matt calls me and he's like, my guys are fighting with the guys across the street in the parking lot because there was some sort of domestic violence thing going on, and your guys went in there to break it up, and I'm like, you can't come up with this stuff.
No, it's amazing. I mean, when you're on the busy corner of a street, you see strange things. And amongst all the strange things that we don't need to tell stories about, I thought this one warrants a story. I think it's something serious. You know, we hear about auto repair scams. And for the most part, that doesn't happen in repair shops. There's some bad apples out there. But what I'm talking about is just a downright dishonest con artist. Someone that everybody listening would probably agree if you could get a hold of this person, you'd just wring their neck with a pair of pliers for a long, slow, torturous death.
Paper cuts and lemon juice.
And what I'm talking about is I had a nice older woman pull into the shop in a bit of a panic. She pulled in her Honda CR-V, nice little tall, short little Italian woman. She could barely reach over the counter. She said, "Guys, I think there might be something wrong with my car." "Oh, what happened?" She said, "Well, there were some guys following me, and they were next to me, and I could just feel I was uncomfortable with them driving next to me. They were waving at me, and we got stuck at a stoplight." So she thought to herself, "Oh, no, they're next to me at the stoplight. These guys are in a Corvette. Nice car, right? So maybe they're credible. You know, they have some credibility, clean-cut looking guys."
Worst kind.
Yeah, worst kind. And they say to her, "Hey," the guy says, my son notices your wheel is loose. Pull over. We'll help you tighten your wheel. Your wheel's wobbling." And this woman, very sharp woman, says to herself, "No, I don't feel any wobbling." And her sixth sense kicked in, luckily, because she just didn't feel right. So she pulled into the shop. We're on 7th Street in Virginia. She pulls in. We help her. We go out and we look, and there's nothing wrong with the car. And I take it for a drive, and I feel it, and there's nothing wrong with this car at all. These people were trying to get her to pull over, and they were going to scam her. They were going to rob her. They were going to carjack her. They were going to tell her she had a problem that she didn't have.
In the middle of the day?
In the middle of the day. I mean, this is bold, guys. This, we've got to talk to our parents about this and let our moms that live alone or even our dads and elderly parents and neighbors and stuff know this is happening out there. These people are out there, and luckily her sixth sense, like I said, kicked in, and she just knew it wasn't right. There was a police officer in yesterday having some repairs, and we talked to him about it, and it's happening. This is out there. You've heard about it, and it's not just down the road. You might be at Walmart. We heard about this a couple years ago over in Peoria. "Oh, don't you smell that fuel? You shouldn't drive your car. We can check this for you. We can fix it." And they just disappear with your money or whatever else. Maybe they steal the garage door opener and they beat you home. So please talk to everybody. Be aware, or if you've got older parents, let them be aware of this, because
the roadside fixes are not something you need.
No.
You know what I like about the story? When you told me about it, she was a bumper-to-bumper listener.
Well, she was.
And she was a little Italian lady. She said, "Well, it's about time Dave started saying his name right."
Yeah, she says, "Oh, I always listen to you." And I knew, and that was another thing that was nice. She knew
where to
she
go.
was on the ball. She knew to pull into a place, and she knew about us. And I heard her listening to the station when I drove the car. She says, "Oh, yeah, you and Dave Riccio." And finally he's saying his name right, which I thought was cute. So.
Anyhow, we got to get to the phones. We've got John in Phoenix. He's got a 2002 Ford Escape, and if you want to make it sound more exciting, you call it Escape. How can we help you, John, in your Ford Escape?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Listen, my admissions is coming up in March, and I do it every 2 years. And the last time I went through, everything was fine with my lights. Soon after that, I had a red light come on. On the dashboard. I had it checked out by my dealership, and it has nothing to do with the engine motor. It has to do with the water tank that you use for your windshields, and you can clean your windows. That is broken, and so my red light is coming on, and that is what the problem is. Is that red light, even though it has nothing to do with emissions, is that going to make me fail?
No.
Not at all. And if it does, you got to find the management emission station. But no, it will not cause you to fail at all. So it's unrelated.
Yeah, it's just got to be a amber or orange color, maybe the silhouette of an engine, if we even know what that is. It might say service engine soon or check engine. But I want to make other comment. on his car, he says he does the test every other year because he renews for 2 years. How often or the length of time that you renew for doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you have to pass emissions. I always renew for 1 year, and some people just don't want to be troubled with it. I just don't want to let the state have my $200 another year in advance. What will happen if you only renew for 1 year? You'll get a slip. It just says you're due to renew your registration, and it will say right on there, no emissions test required. So why loan them the money?
Man, you are a stickler. Stickler for sure. Well, thanks for the call, John. 602-277-5827. Let's go with Roland in Queen Creek. He's got a Toyota 2007. What model Toyota do you have?
Tacoma.
All right, good truck.
4-cylinder, automatic.
What's going on with it?
Early in the mornings when I get in it to go to work, and it just seems like it just started it this winter, I pull it out into the street, and it'll go up to like 2,500 RPMs before it'll shift into drive. And it's never done that before. Once it does that the first time, then it's fine the rest of the day. Is that just because it's cold?
Is that when you're actually driving? So let's say you put it in reverse, you backed out of your driveway, you put it into drive, and now you're going forward. So it's got to go all the way up to 2,500 RPMs before it makes that shift?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not an uncommon Toyota thing or Toyota complaint. Toyota definitely uses the temperature of the engine to control the transmission. So first thing in the morning sometimes, and this could go two ways, but I had a Tacoma, and it was roughly an 03, I think. But it was always like that before I got out of the neighborhood. It would run the shifts up higher. And what they're trying to do is warm the engine up. If you got a temperature sensor that's off or not reading right, that can cause that to happen. And we've seen that complaint. And I fixed more than a handful of Toyotas with a temperature sensor issue where it was shifting funky first thing in the morning. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is, hey, that drum maybe is a hard seal in it, and it's taking a little while to pressure it up that first time in the morning. So there could be a mechanical fault. There could be a control fault.
So what's the first thing in the morning got to do with the drum? You're talking about the temperature. It says it has a hard seal. That seal should normally be soft and pliable, but what happens? The temperature makes it harden?
Yeah, as they get older, they start to, the seals themselves, and there's clutch drums in a transmission, and those seals over time they lose their rubberiness. Also, they start to damage or they tear a little bit. And so first thing in the morning, first time you shoot oil that drum, it's not quite filled up because it drained out overnight. And so it may take a little bit to get it going.
Can ignoring that accelerate the wear of an otherwise maybe not so bad transmission?
I don't know. We didn't know how many miles is on that thing.
Right.
But one thing about transmissions, when they start to get old, they start to show their age a bit. It doesn't mean anything's really necessarily even wrong with it, Mm-hmm. So it would be worth checking it out to diagnose to make sure there isn't some other problem, and by ignoring it, you're going to have a transmission that's going to go out. We don't want to take a small problem and make it a bigger problem because we ignored it. But at the same time, too, there's times when we look at people's cars and they say, every so often it does this. And so we'll drive it and everything functionally is okay with the transmission. We'll say, I got out of bed slower today than I did 10 years ago.
Right.
But I'm still living, I'm still working, and I probably still have some years ahead of me. So I'm not necessarily concerned about an idiosyncrasy that develops with the age of the transmission.
Right. So Roland, our bumper-to-bumper radio transmission shop is Tri-City Transmission. And when you're making a transmission purchase, or better yet, think you need to make a transmission purchase, that's one of those things that's worth making an extra trip for. You're only going to get one every so often, so spend a little bit more time going to the right place. Easy to find right off the freeway, so it doesn't matter where you are. It's easy to get to Tri-City Transmission.
Well, for sure, Matt, it's that time of the show.
It's time for Fact or Fiction.
This is something I'm going to take charge of because I think what you really have going on here, you've got like this conspiracy behind the scenes. You're always asking me, trying to make me look bad. And this is a bunch of baloney because you always come up with this stuff, and I'm the one going, boo.
I do. I tell them, just answer it wrong for me this time. Just answer it wrong. I want to be the smart one here. Make me look good.
Try, David. Try. I really do.
So what are you going to ask me? What's the fact or fiction for today?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll ask myself, Dave.
I can never give a straight answer, though. It's never a yes or no with me, right?
All right. Fact or fiction, adding high octane to my a tank of high octane, get the 91 instead of the 87, sprucing that up is going to help me get through emissions. Fact or fiction?
Fact with an asterisk, fiction with an asterisk. How about yes? They're both
Yes,
right.
yes. There is no, It could help. The modern car, not so much.
No, for a car that's working right, no, it's not going to help you. But in the case, like if you failed for NOx, NOx, or nitrogen oxides, that can happen from pinging, and pinging
Fuel burning too quickly, so we go higher octane. It actually burns slower, so we could probably lower some of that cylinder temperature.
Yes, exactly. So it could help on some cars, but maybe not.
Pre-96 cars for the right circumstances.
Exactly. Just
Uh,
like those additives on the shelf. They only work in the right circumstances. That prescription for something else doesn't always fix this other thing.
you can't rub dirt in everything and make it better. There's only certain things rubbing dirt in that makes it help, and it's kind of a placebo. Hey, boy, rub some dirt in that. So anyhow, when we come back, we've got Dave and Patrick, and time for a couple more at 602-277-5827. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends. Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
The Waste Management Phoenix Open, presented by the Octane Indian community, is a golf tournament like no other. Huge crowds, enthusiastic fans, exciting golf. It's truly the People's Open. Please enjoy the tournament and have fun. Remember, be safe, act responsibly, and behave with class. Let's show the world that we have the greatest fans in golf. Respect the fans, respect the players, respect the game at the 2017 Waste Management Phoenix Open, January 30th through February 5th at TPC Scottsdale.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
Few cities are as car-centric as Phoenix, and this is the show that'll help you to better understand that machine you depend on to get around the valley. It's Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app for Android and iPhone.
As usual, we're talking cars today at 11 o'clock till noon, and we're here wrapping up our...
Seriously, we are?
Yeah. Yep, every single Saturday, Dave. It seems like we talk about cars every day, but that's what we do. So we come in here on Saturday and do it for another hour to help you, everybody who's listening, just, maybe get rid of some of the car repair anxiety, a little bit of entertainment. Once in a while, we're funny. We're funny even when you're not looking at us sometimes.
Hey, I know funny, and I'm funny.
Yeah, right. So I'm Matt Allen. This other guy is Dave Riccio. And we're talking about some emissions failures today, all kinds of little things going on with the car, some scams you got to be aware of, people flagging you down. Hey, your wheels loose.
Yeah.
Not so quick. Don't do business with some gypsy in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Afternoon, Smog Patrol. Had your emissions checked?
No, sir.
Fluorocarbons, ozone?
No, sir.
Well, let's check it out.
I love that movie. Fletch can be brought into any
I was
situation.
just say, who would have thought that Fletch could be just so many clips of Fletch could be
so relevant to this
anyway.
show.
Yes, exactly.
For sure. Well, we've got 5 phone calls, and we got like 5 minutes. So we got to get to Dave in Mesa. He just bought an 03 Chevy Trailblazer, and you got a mechanical concern. Dave, what's your concern?
Good afternoon. Good day, sir. I'm a retired combat veteran of the Army. I have 26 years. Just bought this 03 Chevy Trailblazer 1st of February here from a private owner. He says he was the original owner. What size engine is inside of it? Is it a straight 6 or a V6?
I don't know. Do you have it?
Yeah, I'm in it right now.
Okay. Well, it could be a 4-cylinder. In the Trailblazer, it very well could be a 5-cylinder.
5-cylinder, yeah.
Engine.
Straight 5.
5.2 liter, maybe?
Is it 5.2 or 4.2? 4.2 liter.
4.2. Okay, so what was the question then, Dave? Is there a mechanical problem with the engine?
Well, I just got done putting a cam sensor because I went to a mechanic we call Tire Pros, and I just had spent some money getting it wasn't running correctly, but now it's running good. I just want to make sure I get a lot of good life out of this engine because I just bought the vehicle with 171,000 miles onto it.
Right. Well, you can. I mean, somebody else already got good life out of that engine for sure. But if it made it that far, those are known to have oil sludging problems. And I don't think it would have made it to 171 if the people weren't really taking care of that. And that cam phaser is one of those common problems. So
cam sensor, yep.
I think Dave, find your good repair shop that you go to, and just be diligent on your oil changes on that car. I think is the best thing you can do on that particular engine.
My neighbor literally has that same vehicle, and he came to me. He goes, "What do I do with this thing? 200,000 miles on it. The front end was worn, shot out of it, and it had the cam issue, had an intake leak issue going on, and a few other little things." And I said, "Man, you're going to put a set of tires on this thing, and by the time you fix this other stuff, it's going to be $2,200. But this thing can keep going. It's 200,000 miles. If you keep up on these cars, you can make them go a long time."
I always hate to hear the people say, "Should I just drive it till it's just junk?" No. Enjoy it while you drive it. Wear it out. Keep it up good. Have some resale value, and take care of it. You'll enjoy driving your car.
Well, let's go to Patrick in Tempe. He's got a 1994 Buick LeSabre. How can we help you, Patrick? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. I just sent my car through emissions, and one of the tests that I'm not familiar with, I'm an ex-mechanic. The last time I worked on my car worked on any cars were in 1997, but I keep my own car up to specs. And the nitrogen oxide, the very last test on the emission sheet that you get, it failed it didn't fail, but it was at 1.81, and I think the max was 2, and I'm kind of concerned about that.
I wouldn't be concerned about it. That is a byproduct of the combustion. It's from high cylinder temperature. If the engine's pinging.
And they add that was the new addition with the IM240 back in the day, right?
Yeah.
They added NOx.
Yeah. That's what gives you your, the big brown cloud.
Acid rain.
EGR not working or the EGR ports being partially restricted. A weak catalytic converter, a lean condition. Next time put some premium gas in it. Maybe put regular gas in your normal fuel. Put a fuel tank cleaner in there. Get a good one. Get one from BG or get a liquid moly. Some people like Seafoam. Put a tank of that in there and just go flog the thing and clean it out. But I wouldn't worry about it.
Flog it. He means an Italian tune-up. That's what it is, right?
Just go drive it. Drive it hard. Drive it like you're supposed to.
Run it like a scolded dog. Well, we're going to go to Michael in Chandler. He's got an 07 Chrysler 300. How can we help you? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, guys, it's got about 100,000 miles on it. My check engine light's on. I'm not due until March, but the dealership tells me I have a leaking fuel pump, and they want $895 to repair that. And it seems like I can smell gas when I fill up the tank, and after that, once the tank is lower, I don't smell gas anymore. And I'm suspecting it's a gasket on on the fuel pump. What can you tell me about that?
Well, I have done some of these Chryslers here lately in our shop where the top of the tank is actually rotted, and so it's not just a gasket as much as it is that fuel pump assembly that is bad. So when we get the tank down, we don't know what we're really going to find. Is it just the gasket that's leaking? 100,000 miles on a fuel pump, Chrysler fuel pump. You know, we got the tank down. Whether it's a gasket or not, we should be considering replacing that fuel pump.
I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't go through all that labor without replacing it, even if it were a gasket. The problem is oftentimes you don't know until you actually take the gas tank down. Some of those have a vent valve that cracks and it's part of the fuel pump. But I'll tell you what, you don't need to go to the dealer for that, Michael. You're in Chandler. ADS, Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. They're right on Chandler Boulevard, east of I-10 by the railroad track there. Give them a shot. It'd be a good place to go check out about having that pump repaired or replaced.
Thanks for the call. We're going to get John in Ahwatukee. He's got a 2012 Mazda 3. How can we help you, John? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
All right, guys. Hey, I'm getting mixed messages on the transmission service time. One dealer says 35. Another one says 100,000. Another one says don't touch it.
Yeah, well, all service writers have a dartboard in their shop, and they throw darts at it. And depending on where the dart lands, that's the recommendation. And that's just a joke. I'm just being facetious. But it is a frequently asked question on this show. It's a frequently asked question at Tri-City Transmission. The phone rings every day, and we answer this question over and over and over again. So, there is so much misinformation about transmission service. Some say don't do it. Some say do it every 30. Some say do it every 50. Some say do it every 100,000. What I've come to is just a rule of thumb. Every 30 to 50,000 miles. If you're an aggressive servicer, do it at 30. If you're one of those that kind of likes to wait out, do it at 50. But it should be serviced because at some point that oil breaks down and it loses its lubricity, which is a word I thought was made up, but it tends to be a real word.
Tends to be. Okay.
Tends to be a real word. So Wikipedia's got it. But anyway, I would definitely service that thing. And a good bad transmission service is worse than no service at all. So it's got to be qualified. I don't know if I'd $3,000 investment in transmission.
Dave, don't we see some of these transmissions failing before they're even due for a maintenance interval? And the only problem is that the fluid has got too much dissolved solids in it, causing abrasion in the
for sure, and hanging up the solenoid valves. Anyhow, thanks for joining us. Remember, if you missed a show or you want to go back to a prior show, you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. For that matter, you can find them on the Apple Store for the podcast. We appreciate you running the dials, Bree, and enjoying the weather today. It's going to be like 7.
Say hi to my daughter Emily in there. So hi,
See you
Emily.
next week.